And also new at 5, Georgia Governor Kemp making it clear tonight, crystal clear, he has no intention of ordering a statewide mask mandate, even though the CDC's guidance has shifted. Just 24 hours ago, the Atlanta-based agency reversed course, recommending everyone wear masks indoors if they're in an area with a substantial or high spread of COVID, and that is most of Georgia. The agency also recommending all students and school staff mask up indoors. Brittany Kleinpeter tracking the governor's stance and metro schools weighing what to do with the first day right around the corner, Brittany.
That's right, Sheba. All of this is being driven by a rise in cases across the country, including right here in Georgia as the Delta variant spreads. So we wanted to break down what the data shows versus what schools are doing as the governor weighs in on the debate. The governor tweeting this afternoon that Georgia will not go into a lockdown or impose a mask mandate on the heels of the CDC's new recommendations. The CDC issuing new guidance yesterday urging all students and school staff to wear masks indoors regardless of their vaccination status. The agency also adding masks should be worn in areas with high transmission rates. The World Health Organization defines this as anything over a positivity rate of 5%. As of yesterday, 10 of the 11 surrounding Atlanta counties would be considered to have a high rate, per that definition. Douglas County holds the highest positivity rate of 12.5%, and Clayton County not far behind with 10.8%. The only metro county showing a positivity rate under 5% is Fayette.
We certainly aren't getting better. We are sliding backwards. And what we project is that eventually the unvaccinated population will pose a significant threat to the vaccinated population.
Meanwhile, as of yesterday, the overall state's 14-day positivity rate is up by 8.93%. That's a 151% spike from just 2 weeks ago. With Metro Atlanta schools preparing to head back soon, Cobb County, Fulton County, Cherokee County, Henry County, Forsyth County, and Marietta City and Beaufort City schools have all said masks would remain optional. The 6 other districts seen here are requiring them, and Fayette County remains undecided. While not directly addressing school policies, Governor Kemp appearing to support individual districts' decisions, tweeting vaccines are the best way to defeat the virus and continuing his stance against a statewide mask mandate. And the Fulton County School District told me it's meeting today to evaluate its policy and will notify parents and staff if changes are warranted. The largest school district in the state, Gwinnett County, just reversing their mask optional policy yesterday following the CDC's announcement.